welcome to a very special edition of Stairwell Chronicles Live. This is Dr. Jane Morgan, and today we will have the legendary Lou Gossett Jr., Academy Award winner, Oscar winner for An Officer and a Gentleman, right here to discuss his medical path and his medical journey. Sit back and enjoy. See you soon. So we got Mr. Lou Gossett here, and you know, I'm just going to give you just a brief introduction. He needs no introduction, but you know, there are some things I just want to remind people about. So he is an Oscar winner, Academy Award winning actor for Officer and a Gentleman. And if you can remember, he also won an Emmy for playing the role of Fiddler in Roots. My absolute favorite movie of his was Sadat, when he played on Sadat. Got a Golden Globe nomination for that. He has won 2 NAACP Image Awards for Story of Josephine Baker. He was also nominated 6 different times. He is also an activist and a humanitarian. And in 2006, opened up his foundation called Eracism, and hopefully we'll have time to talk about that today. So without further ado, I want to introduce you, doesn't need any introduction, to Mr. Lou Gossett, who, by the way, and we're going to talk about age, we're going to talk about ageism and aging in Hollywood, will turn 87 this month.
Couple more days.
Doesn't he look great? So Lou, welcome. This is Stairwell Chronicles.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm doing Stairwell Chronicles on someone else's turf. I'm not on my stairs.
Hey, fellas, you see how lucky I am? That's my doctor. Ooh, looking good, too. I'm lucky.
So we're actually going to talk a little bit about Lou's medical journey. I thought we would start, you know, at 17. He entered this industry and was in a movie called Take a Giant Step.
In theater.
In theaters. And so maybe talk with us about that and your grandmother.
Well, that's society. The society's created after World War II. Some of the Jews who survived the Holocaust, the intellectual cream of the crop of Europe, the filmmakers, theater people, they had to run. So all the way from Russia to Italy, they ran. They managed to get to Ellis Island, where all the immigrants came from. There was a sympathetic Board of Education man by the name of William Jansen. They took them and sent them to a place, the boondocks of New York City. There's Brooklyn, Staten Island, the Bronx, Long Island. They had to change their names. One was my English teacher. In Europe, it was the great Gustav Greenberg. In Brooklyn, it was Gus Brown. And it was the Greenbergs. And, so I grew up with their children, and they were my teachers. So I didn't know anything about living in a black community. We lived together like the United Nations. So my friends would come over and have some fried chicken. And I'd go over there and get some filter fish. And if my parents weren't home, I could eat myself in one block around the world. That's how we grew up, and it's set, it's the foundation. So when things happened to me because I was black, I could not comprehend. Even though I'd been into Georgia, you get right off the plane, go right off the train to a stagecoach, straight to a farm where I was expert on yellow meat woman.
This was the summers.
This was summer.
Okay, how you spent your summers in Brooklyn.
And so it was very nutritious. We come home from there and be the best state for schools starting in September. So fade out, fade in, I did the one little thing that Gustav Bloomberg did. He directed a play called You Can't Take It With You.
Right.
So me and my childhood sweetheart, God rest her soul, Loretta Lindsay. It was Kaufman and Hart wrote it, and I was the house. She was the maid, and I was the butler. And somebody comes up to with a gun and says, "Raise your hands." And I had my shopping bag, and I raised the shopping bag in the air, brought the house down. So now it's over, and now I'm hip. I'm president of the school, and Gus Bloomberg says, "Come here for a minute." I'm looking at the classifieds here. They're looking for a young boy your age to have this lead in this play. I know you've never seen it, but tell your mother to take you down there. What can you lose? So on Sunday, I went down there to the Lights Theater, and there was one light on a big stage. I could hear giggles. And I opened my mouth, and the giggles got louder, and my feelings were hurt. I went out of the theater straight back toward the subway, and the blind man says, "Wait a minute." The man looked just like me, and he said, "I was me laughing at you." I said, "What?" "You remind me when I was your age, and I'm tickled to death. Please come back." That was Lou Peterson, the man who wrote Take a Chance Step as the autobiography. And from then, until 1 year from then, they taught me how to act. They sent me every day. I had to do the part. I met with some of the top people in the business. They took such good care of me over the next year. They opened on Labor Day in Philadelphia, in a lead on Broadway show, 1953.
All right, and you were 17.
17 years.
And your grandmother came to that. You have longevity in your family, correct?
Yeah.
So we're talking about that. So how old was she?
At the time, she was approximately, because she was a slave when the people got free. And so she saw the Bible being started, and births and marriages and deaths were recorded in the Bible after that. She remembers the Bible being started. So when she showed up backstage, I take his ass down. And my best friend was the late, God rest his soul, Paul Rose. Oversized man with big voice. He was happy to see somebody finally of his color breaking some barriers. I don't know what he thought. So she came in, she slapped me 5 times. It gives you a pin drop. I said, "Why'd you slap me?"
Your grandmother?
Yeah, she said, I saw you sassing your grandma up there. And I taught you better than that. I said, "Oh no, just a line in the play." Stop, stop, stop. I don't care. And I'm gonna come back next week and you don't say it again. Now everybody's in stitches.
Right.
It's a theater piece.
Right.
So I had to say it every time I said it. I thought my grandma was slapping me. I always stuttered on those lines. "Damn it, Grandma, I'm not doing it." Claps now.
And you were the youngest one. As your career went on, though, what an inauspicious start. You ended up spending a lot of time with the Rat Pack,
With the
Frank
Rat Pack.
Sinatra
Yeah,
and
down the
Sammy
road.
Davis. Is that when you started smoking?
Well, I
Or-
did what I thought. Said it in the bedrooms. We lived in the basement,
Right.
and I lived in a day bed in the living room. Great, no television. Television came up, and I said, "I wanted a color television." My father got a magnifying glass, put some blue ink in it, and said, "There's your color television." But I watched them, and what they did, my father and his brothers sat there and drank some wine or some Four Roses or whatever, and smoked cigarettes. By the time the evening was over, they were giggling and having such a good time. I wanted to be with that. That's
Okay.
what I thought was being grown up.
So how old were you when you started smoking?
I started smoking about. I wanted to start by the time I was 10. I didn't get started until after 21, because I was an athlete.
So when you were with Frank Sinatra and those, you were already smoking?
Oh, we all were.
Okay,
And you
okay.
could follow the crowd.
Right.
So when they did something, they started giggling. I wanted to be like that. They giggling. I was just like my uncle said. Give me some of that. And it was harsh and stuff, but I had to act like I was grown up.
Right.
Slowly but surely. I didn't have to act like I was grown up. It felt good. And then I could stop because
So were you doing something else besides smoking, or?
drinking.
Okay,
That's what you do when you're successful.
Right, right.
That's the crowd. And try to copy those guys. And the charm of it is that once they do that, they can still get up a couple hours later and do the best work you've ever seen. And somewhere along the line, I couldn't do that.
Right.
And so I became having the addiction. When I couldn't do that, I felt very sorry. I felt less than. When I could take it and couldn't stop, and couldn't do the performances that I could see Sammy Davis and Sinatra and all the guys do.
Right.
But then it was a conflict. It was a battle. and I looked for it, what is this, to control it. And it took a minute,
Right.
but for the sake of God, I got it.
And did you ever become addicted to any of these substances?
Absolutely. I was more addicted to crack, crack, but crystal, it was called, stuff you cooked.
Right.
And it tasted good, and there's no after effects. You can take a photograph, your eyes didn't bulge,
Right.
your nose didn't run, and you feel like Superman. So I just, enjoy it. But there's a saying, maybe you can recognize the saying: keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. The results were less and less and less, which means you have to try more and more to get that same initial feeling. To make a long story short, you get to a place. This is my 19th sober year.
19 sober. Congratulations.
So
So I imagine you tried different times in your life and had
Yeah.
relapses. Maybe you could talk about, I know in South Africa once you had a
Yeah,
relapse
yeah.
if you have been sober.
well, when you do that, you do drugs or the alcohol. They have a thing what's called fentanyl. And others. Once you allow that in the system, if you're religious, I speak directly to the camera, you have to let God in, let go and let God in. It becomes a no-brainer. But if God can get in there, so can the devil, because God created the devil. So you have to make a decision. You go the devil's way or God's way. So now you are about to break open as a very famous person, and along with it is this onus of being an addict or addicted person. And it seems like they know your moves globally, and they're ready for you as soon as you get off the airplane. So they were ready for me, as they've been ready for others, humans together, etc. So I thought that I could overcome it because I waited not to go to South Africa until Mandela would come out. So when Mandela was going to come out, I came to produce the first movie in South Africa called Inside. And in the hotel was a young lady who knew where the cocaine was. And I thought I had control, but I did not. And I got in a position from 25 years ago to succumb. That was then, this is now. There's certain things that happen. What does it take? It takes a complete energy to communicate with my higher power, whom I call God. In order for you to do that, God has put together the devil, who is very attractive. You have to have these prayers and these meditations and this decision that no matter what, God is in charge and not me. There's certain things you think is sacrifice, but it's not. It's a life. It's a wonderful feeling, and then a transformation takes over. So I like to influence other young people, now that they are so-called famous, to make that decision too.
So Lou, you ended up with cancer a couple of times. Prostate cancer, kidney cancer. When you had prostate cancer, where were you sort of in your film career? Was that around the time of The Officer and the Gentleman, or was that around the...
I'm not sure what they were talking about.
Okay.
The depth of that. It might, let's just say God sent it, me a signal.
Okay.
To straighten up.
Okay.
And I answered the signal and I counted the cancer. I had 3 or 4 different kinds. And so today, I don't think I have it. But now, my contemporaries are gone.
Yeah. And here you are.
And here I still am. So I interpret that as something that God still wants me to do here on this planet. When I'm finished with it, then he'll call me too. But for now, I'm here with my foundation. It's called E-Racism. And its dictionary definition is the removal of existence that one race, one creed, one community is superior to another. We don't get rid of that. Our world has gotten in such a state the image I see is everybody's in this 747 airplane. And it's about to crash. The people inside the airplane are still fighting over who's going to be the first class. It does not make sense. We need one another quite desperately for our mutual salvation.
Yeah, amen. Can I ask you, when you were at your lowest point with your different cancers, how did you access medical care? How did you find your doctors? How did that process work? Is it different in Hollywood than it is for the rest of us? Or
I call, in retrospect, it's called a program of attraction. People see that you're looking to get help, and the right and the wrong people come to you. You be able
the
to-
right and the wrong people.
Yeah.
That was a good point.
So finally, you get to the right people, like you're the right people,
Thank you.
and all of a sudden you start doing the right things that keep your desire for doing that to yourself out of your life. And slowly but surely, you pile that up in a thought process, events, meetings, which becomes a no-brainer. You do that on a daily basis, and second nature happens. I speak to young people now, and it's more chemical than we think. You take the thing that maybe we all have studied in school. When the teacher has a big magnet and a piece of paper and metal shavings, take a big magnet and move it, and never shavings follows that magnet. That's a scientific syndrome. It happens to people, places, and things also. So now, if you have a thing that's you're right with God, and all things are happening that attracts attention,
Right.
same magnet happens when you walk through.
Yeah. When you're looking for medical care.
When you're looking for anything, you attract that attention.
Okay.
You attract good and bad people. With the help of God, the prayers, you'll wind up with the rights. The wrong ones begin to get bored and go away. Slowly but surely, life becomes refined and blessed because we're not in charge. Certain things that we have to do on a daily basis to pray, meditate, stretch, eat properly, get enough sleep, and get ourselves in a position to receive God's message, have it enter our bodies spiritually, emotionally, and psychically, to do the right thing one day at a time.
That's really profound. Can I ask you also then, you'll be 87.
87.
Right? You got a lot of wisdom.
Wow.
In
Come from Grandma.
3 days, right? May 26th.
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And your grandmother lived to be more than 100.
Yes, she had to be. She was there when the slaves were freed.
Right. And this is her, she's
That's
got her
right.
photograph back here too.
That's right.
Yeah. So I guess what I want to ask about is the color purple. 'Cause color purple is coming out.
Yes.
And if you all don't know, Lou has a role in the color purple. I saw a video where Fantasia was serenading you, and Coleman Domingo was there. and
Absolutely.
It was just beautiful. But talk to us about what it's like to get older and now be in films. Are your roles as long? Why or why not? How do you manage that as you continue to age?
The magic word is acceptance.
Okay.
I see people getting in trouble when they get older and try to stay young. That's embarrassing.
Okay.
Men and women. But once you accept your age, that comes just from me. Once that age is accepted, 100% through prayer and meditation, you kind of become young again. There's a job to do. Back in Africa, and older primitive, quote unquote. There's certain things that everybody had to do for the benefit of the whole tribe.
Right.
I'm at the level now where I'm an elder. I've been a warrior, a father, a grandfather, as a child, used to catch the animal. Now it's my turn to be an elder. I have a foundation called For What Is Good.
Really?
So I've gathered some points together, stronger than any society there is in this country. There is the potential promise of mankind leaning on one another for mutual salvation. It's become the only answer there is left.
And in your role in Color Purple, how did you channel that into that role as an older person? How did you approach and prepare for that now as you've gotten older than you would as a younger person?
Well, you take a character like that, you want it, you savor it because in being that character, I disagree with the character.
Yeah.
But you swim into it, you believe what you're saying, and you have to convince people that's who you really are. And the rest, the magic takes over, and you attract that attention.
Do you ask for fewer lines, or do you ask for more lines? How do you approach it?
Whatever is natural.
Okay.
I didn't need as many lines.
Okay.
What they saw was something in my face.
Right.
So there's a book called Acting and Believing. You have to believe that's who you are.
You know what? Speaking of that, your movie where you played a Cuban musician.
Right.
That was fairly recent.
Yes, it was.
3 or 4 years ago. And you were in a nursing home and you befriended a caregiver.
Yes.
How did you prepare for that? Because I find that was interesting as opposed to the movie Gathering of Old Men, where you were actually a young man
I was the youngest
playing an old man.
Yeah.
And then in the Cuban, you actually were an older person playing someone who also was struggling with their memory.
Absolutely.
Somewhat. So how do you prepare for those roles in different stages of your life?
Well, I was encouraged by one of my favorite actors, Robert De Niro.
Okay.
They did a movie called, I can't remember one name, where he did the same thing. I said, I wish I had an opportunity to do what he did. And then just a couple of minutes, he aged 30 years.
Right.
Wow, what a great thing for an actor to do. Got a chance to do it. And you have to do it step by step.
Right.
The camera peeping on you. And by the time the camera gets real close, you have to convince to that camera, to that audience, that you are absolutely senile and elderly. That's the challenge of an actor.
Any parallels to your current life as you're getting older with memory or just living? You may have to live your life a little differently, or not really any parallels.
Well, I get to see people that I care a great deal about. I have to see them make mistakes. I see them also do good things. And my reaction is a smile. I see a smile and I see it remembering when I used to do the same.
Right.
So I'm an elder now, for what it's worth. And hopefully the stuff that comes out of me teaches that person a lesson. There's a dynamic that I'm beginning to notice if I may speak about it. I love people because they're the ones that put me up there. We as a people of color are very qualified. These doctors, these lawyers, these athletes, these rappers. And so that when we get this money, become fame, we not have the lessons to maintain it. So even though we have a pocket full of money, we're still thinking in terms of being in the streets. That's a lesson for us as a people to teach by example the lessons of growing up, uncover, discover, and discard negativity, clear the air, and be grateful for what God's given you. It's brand new for us. It can't be pointed at like this. They have to be told.
Right. And God gives you family and friends.
As a fool, that's where when he teaches the young people, take a deep breath and grow.
Did you have family and friends that you leaned on during the times when you were struggling with drug addiction and you were having relapses, or how were you able to get through that?
A handful of friends who are doing the same. It's called Alcoholics Anonymous. And get yourself a sponsor, which is where I am now for others.
So you had alcohol and drugs,
Yeah.
and okay.
And that's what I got here. It's alcohol. So I'm a sponsor.
Okay.
I'm helping others. And if you give, it's called giving it away to keep it. So I had a fantasy. It's not a different subject. I think it's the same. That if we have that mindset of needing one another desperately for mutual salvation, So when people are hungry, you feed them.
Right.
When they're loveless, you love them, especially to the children. Imagine the mindset if you could instill that. Listen, the brilliant minds in university, and give them the job of making the city that is being formed because of the refugees and immigrants at the border from California all the way to Florida a better way of living. So they built new sanitation structures. Back to the good old days where they had their compost seed, they could grow their own vegetables. They could make sure that where they live is the most powerful, beautiful place. And in a short while, those brilliant minds of the university create something that we all want to go see.
Right.
It has to do with the mindset, not the money. And all of a sudden becomes very attractive.
Yeah, I agree.
More of that on every side is necessary for our salvation. So there's a decision that I make on a daily basis.
Right.
That takes mankind to save mankind.
Let me ask you about your smoking. You smoked for a long time.
Yes.
And do you have any issues now that you're managing because of this smoking? That you're having to.
It used to be an escape. It's a favorite phrase. You keep doing the same thing, especially expecting different results. There is no such thing. So the last day of my use, everything I ever used was on the table in front of me, and none of it worked.
None of it worked. Did you have emphysema or did you have?
I had everything.
Okay.
None of it worked.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
So I had to make a decision to go to a rehab or to jump off a building somewhere. But that was it. There's a brick wall.
But were you really contemplating suicide?
And it's one of the things I thought about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Instead, I called my son and told him,
Yeah.
take me to rehab. They took me to rehab. Breathed a sigh of relief because of it. And that's history.
It's history.
That's
And
19
here
years.
you are now to give that wisdom.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk about it. You can survive it. With all the things that you've been through. All the things
That's
that
the only
you're.
way you can get through it.
Yeah.
But that's what I said.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the movie Color Purple.
Oh, yeah.
And
Me too.
I've seen some promos coming out and what you're doing. So what's remarkable is you're still acting.
Still doing it.
You
There's a transition
still
happening.
are, that's right.
The transition is happening. I'm doing voiceovers now for feature films. I want to do a podcast.
For what it's worth.
For what it's worth.
For what it's worth.
It's the job of an elder. What you do is you open up the door, put your 50 cent in there, see you later, and move on down the street. And hopefully, some of those words will touch some of those kids.
Right.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Cell phones go in the back pocket and they listen.
I love it.
I love my babies.
I love it.
Good kids.
So he's still getting called for roles, still acting, has learned to keep it simple, and is managing health challenges from some of that habits and things that he developed along the way.
I got to look in for some great doctors, by the way.
Well, Lou, is there anything you want to say? We're going to close it out. 30 minutes goes so fast.
Well, the motto, for what it's worth, there's no such thing as impossible. Raise the ceiling.
I love it. All right. That's another episode, special episode of Stairwell Chronicles, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks so much, Lou.
Thank you.
Thanks for everybody. Wow. What about that? What a legend. Lou Gossett Jr. and how transparent on what his journey is like and his medical challenges. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you feel more empowered. And I hope to see you again soon on Stairwell Chronicles Live.